right now, we're going to come with our top 10 teams and our power rankings in the NBA. Tim, start with yours. This is across the league. This isn't just one conference. Top 10 teams in the league.
All right, my top 10 across the league. I think after the trade deadline, a lot of teams improved, a lot of teams got worse. So start with my honorable mentions. I have, in no particular order, I have the Warriors, my honorable mentions. The Jimmy Butler trade definitely helped them out, gave them another person who could score the ball outside of Curry, takes a lot of pressure off of them. Timberwolves, I just think healthy, they might be better. I think Julius Randle's back, so they kind of got him back. And he's low-key been hooping since he's been healthy. But I don't know. I just think they're a few pieces away from, getting back to where they were even last year.
Yeah.
And then I have the Pistons, who've been hooping lately. If it wasn't for Kenny Atkinson, I think J.B. Bickerstaff would be easily coach of the year. He's got those guys hooping. K's looking like all NBA level. Malik Beasley's out there hooping. Tobias Harris is back to, the good player that he could be. So they look good, but it's not in my top 10. At number 10, I have the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay.
Started the year off really, really slow, but they've been picking it up as of lately. Number 9, I got the Houston Rockets.
Okay.
Who, then the opposite, started the season off hot, but I think they're like 5-5 in the last 10. And they kind of slowed down a little bit, but Amen Thompson's been hooping down there. I just think they look really good as a team. Defense is looking very good, but I just think lately they've looked a little rocky, so they kind of dropped down in my rankings. Number 8, I have the Clippers, Los Angeles Clippers. All-star James Harden, should have been all-star Norman Powell. Kawhi's going to be Kawhi when he's healthy. I think they look really good, honestly. They do look really good. I think it's always been, they always look good. When they have Paul George, when they signed him and Kawhi, it was like, oh, this team went to the finals. But I honestly think this team looks more cohesive and looks, honestly, the best they've played since, those two signings. So they look really good. Number 7, I have the Knicks. I'm not high on the Knicks. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Sure, their starting 5 looks good. They're probably one of the best starting 5s in the league, but the depth on that team is just the bench. It's not good for me. I don't think it could take them far in the playoffs. They just got Mitchell Robinson back, so that'll help a lot. He plays his first game. That's big. Played his first game a couple of days ago, but I don't know. Just outside of that, campaign off the bench. I just don't think their depth is good, especially compared to the other teams in the East, who I'll get to later. But I just think that, and they also have not performed against the top 3 teams in the league.
Oh my goodness, yes.
They haven't won a game against Boston or Cleveland. So
yeah, it's bad.
Come playoff time, you can't really, expect to do much of anything if you're not winning those big games. Number 6, I have the Grizzlies here. I had JJJ, Jaren Jackson Jr., make an All-Star game. He didn't make it. John Morant's looking pretty good. Their offense looks great. I think they're the highest scoring offense in the league.
Yep.
And, their defense is really good. They got Jaren Jackson holding it down in the paint down there. They look really good. I'm high on them. It was a report that came out that they tried to get KD, which I'm happy they didn't, because they probably would have traded away a lot of pieces that they had now. Yeah. But they look good, though. I'm high on them. Number 5, I'm sure Emerson, I don't know if his top 5 is the same, but I think the top 5 is pretty straightforward. We were talking about that. Number 5, I had the Nuggets. I'm kind of torn with the Nuggets, though. Sometimes they look good. Obviously, when Jokic's on the floor, they're a top offensive unit in the league. But when he's off the floor, like I was watching the Celtics game when they just played yesterday, and it looks awful. Like, I just think at times their offense looks stagnant. I take that back. They kind of look better in the second half once Jamal Murray started to score, but when Jokic is off the floor, it's hard to watch. Like, if Jamal Murray's not scoring, they really have nobody else to score the ball outside of Jokic. Like, they don't have a really bona fide number 2 or even number 3 option that can score. Like Michael Porter Jr., he can go in there. He's averaging 19, but I was watching the game, like, he didn't even look like he wanted to be out there and score. Like, he only got, 10 points. Like, it was just hard to watch. That one game where they played the Lakers, J.J. Redick had a great scheme to go out there and guard Jokic. He had the least amount of shot attempts on the season. Like, it was good. And I think a lot of teams, come playoff time, will look at that and find a way to, guard him. I'm not saying that you could stop him. You can hope to contain him, but It's just outside of Jokic, I just don't think that they could have the scoring ability. So that's kind of what's holding them back from being higher. But I mean, they're playing good basketball as of late, so I can't really say much. Number 4, I have the Lakers. That trade, man, I don't. We talked about that, but that trade was crazy. Luka started off really slow with the Lakers, but as of late, he's been picking it up. He played really good last night against the Timberwolves. He had 29, I want to say, almost 30. So he's playing really good. LeBron's playing like a top 5 player in the past month. Like, he's absolutely hooping. Like, it's just,
ever since he turned 40, his stats have been insane.
Yes, he's playing really good. So I really have confidence in that team. I think not JB Bickerstaff, Darvin Ham really held that team back. Like, they just look like a completely different unit now since they have a coach that is coaching them very well. They look really good. Yeah. And then number 3, I have the Celtics here. I have the Celtics here at number 3. Obviously, we know what they're capable of. Really good unit, but I think the two teams. I think they finally have a team in the East that can keep up with them, which I'll get to later. And, if they make it to the finals, I think the team that comes out the West will definitely give them more of a challenge than they did last year, for sure.
Definitely.
So, number 2, I have the Thunder. I have the Thunder at 2. And the Cavs at 1. No bias. I'm trying to put my bias aside, but I just think after the DeAndre Hunter trade, I just think the Cavs look more. They can defend the perimeter way better. I think the DeAndre Hunter trade was definitely to compete with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in the East with the Celtics. They finally have a player that they know they could put on him. And sure, we just played the Celtics, and Jason Tatum had almost 50. Jaylen Brown hooped. But down the stretch, like, Jason Tatum had an air ball in the clutch off a DeAndre Hunter block. Jason Tatum in the fourth quarter it was bad. So I just think now, since we have a player that we know we could put on him and we're really confident in that, we being the Cavs, I just think that it makes us a lot more scary defensively and offensively. He just had 32 in that overtime game against the Trailblazers, so he's coming out here and he's hooping. And obviously you got Ty Jerome off the bench, Max Strus, and obviously the core 4 who are playing very good. So I just think that, and we won our last 10 and 0 in the last 10. The Thunder, sure, they blew the Cavs out when they were fully healthy in OKC, but
not even fully healthy. They still didn't have Chet.
That is right. My bad. They didn't have Chet, so they blew them out. But I don't know. I have more confidence in the Cavs than I do the Thunder. All bias aside, I just think that come playoff time, I just want to see Shea prove it. Like, the Timberwolves kind of demolished them in the playoffs last year, so
yeah.
I don't know. I just need him to prove it. I'm not saying that they can't be the number 1 team, but as of now, I got the Cavs. So I went a little in depth, but that was my top 10. I'll say my top 10 again, real quick. Number 10, the Bucks. Number 9, Rockets. 8, Clippers. 7, Knicks. 6, Grizzlies. 5, Nuggets. 4, Lakers. 3, Celtics. 2, Thunder. 1, Cavs.
Our top 10 is very similar. Like, very, very similar. I mean, I don't think it's really much debate to have, but my honorable mentions are Pistons, Timberwolves, and Clippers. I have the Clippers in my honorable mentions. I don't even have them in the top 10. That's really? Because I think all 10 of these teams that I'm about to name is a better team than the Clippers especially when they're clicking. Harden is, like you said, he is a all-star. Norman Powell is balling. But, I mean, I don't know. Like, Harden had 13 against the Lakers yesterday on 4 for 14 from the field, 2 for 9 from 3. So it's like you're gonna get those games out of him. And last year when he was in Philly, how he was in Game 7. Just like it's so many so inconsistent. I feel to where I can't put them in that top 10 because I've seen what they can do and what they've shown me this season hasn't been enough to make that push that you were actually talking about, saying that this team looks like not like obviously that talent when they had Paul George and Kawhi was insane. But you're saying like this team, with Norman Powell, Zubac, like just more like together. It seems like.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's enough, especially when you get to the playoffs. It's everybody's good. You're gonna run into teams that made it to this level because they're a good team, and you can't. Harden can have 30 against the Bulls, but then just when it comes to matter against the Lakers, it's not like he didn't play. He played 38 minutes, but at 13 points. So it's like that's where I'm at. Being James Harden, you're gonna get in the playoffs a lot of attention. So if you can't even do it in the regular season, when the attention isn't fully on you, I don't know what you expect to do in the playoffs. But my top 10 I have the Bucks as well. 9 or 10 actually. I didn't know what to do with the Bucks because Giannis is amazing and Dame can hoop, but it's like I don't know. They started off very very slow. That was a big thing. Like it was bad. But now they're the 4 seed. Above 500, but they are barely the 4 seed. Like they have the same wins. 4 through 6 all have the same amount of wins. Bucks just have one less loss. So, the Pistons could jump them next week, and then they drop to the 6th seed, just like that. Right. So it's like the East is very weak. So it's like being the 4 seed in the East doesn't matter as much.
Right.
My number 9 team, I have the Rockets. Like you said, team started very hot, but then as time went on, they didn't fall off like crazy. But they definitely fell off from what they were. They were the 2 or 3 seed at one point, and they dropped all the way down to 5. Next, I have the Pacers.
Okay, I like that.
I have the Pacers. 5 seed. When Halliburton is clicking, that team is nice.
That's high.
Really? You think that's high?
I didn't even have them top 30.
You didn't even have them in your honorable mentions.
I had the Pistons over them, but I
have them over the Pistons. I mean, they're above them in the rankings.
I think Halliburton's too inconsistent.
I will give you that. I definitely will give you that.
Player, you can't be that inconsistent. But he's turned it up as of lately, so I don't. When he's on, they look really good. So I don't.
He's been hooping as of late. Definitely, he hasn't had a game under 10 assists in his last 5 games.
Yeah.
So like he's
right.
But that's Halliburton's game. That's the thing that people don't understand. Like he's not a guy. Recently, it was against the Raptors. Last week he had 33 and 11 assists. But that's not his game. His game isn't to go out and score that much. His game is to get his 20 and 10 or his 18 and 10, and that's what he's averaging. His averages have gone down from last year. Last year when they made the Eastern Conference Finals, he was averaging 20 and 10. Well, 20 and 11 honestly is 10.9. This year he's averaging 18 and 9. So it's like that's not his bag to go out and drop 30. But that's why like that team, because of him, just because he's not scoring doesn't mean he's not affecting the game.
Absolutely.
And that's a big thing. Like he had 17 points last night, but he still had 12 assists. He had 5 rebounds and 3 steals. That's still a very good game. You don't and they're winning without him having to go out and drop 30. They're 10 games above 500. So that's why I'm like, okay, your best player doesn't need to go out and drop 30 like some of these other teams.
Right.
And they're just an all-around good team. That's why I have them in my top 10 at 8.
Okay.
7, I have the Grizzlies, number 1 scoring offense in the league. Jaren Jackson's the best player on that team, in my opinion.
Me too.
I love Ja, but I don't think it's close. Like, honestly. He had 42 2 days ago.
Right.
Against the Spurs. He's just like, yeah. And his defensive presence is way bigger than Ja's. Former DPOY and him and Evan Mobley. It's going to come down to those two for Defensive Player of the Year again. 6, I have the Knicks. You had them at 7. I got them at 6. I still think, I know the biggest problem with the Knicks, like you said, you hit it perfectly, is depth. Like, all of their starting 5 is top 10 in minutes per game. That is going to kill them in the playoffs. They're going to be so burnt out. It's going to be hard for them to get out the first round, They're the 3 seed right now. So, and they're probably going to keep that seed because they're 6 games above the Bucks. But, you're not playing a play-in team. You're going to play either like Bucks, Pistons, or Pacers probably. You're going to play one of those 3 teams. Pacers beat you guys last year. I know like players were hurt and you added Cat, but it's like you added Cat but lost so much depth. And you got like they think that star power and super team is gonna. They're trying to be like the Celtics, but the Celtics star power is on a different level than theirs. Like Celtics have 4 guys who could be an all-star. The Knicks have 2. Mikal isn't an all-star in my opinion. Josh Hart isn't an all-star, but Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, and Drew Holiday are all all-stars.
Right.
So it's like that's crazy star power. That's what they're That's what they're lacking, and they still got Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, Al Horford. He's old, but he can still hoop. Like they did what they needed to do, and the Knicks are trying too hard to be that, and they think just playing all their star guys is going to be beneficial for them, but that's going to kill them in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
And my top 5 is the exact same: Nuggets, Lakers, Celtics, Thunder, Cavs. Exact same top 5. Yeah. I don't. Yeah.
I don't hate the Pacers thing. Like, I don't hate the Pacers. It's just Tyrese is a little too inconsistent for me. But like you said, they're winning games. With him when he's scoring 12, low amount of points. But he's like you said, he's affecting the game other than just scoring. So I gotta give him that.
But they also had an all-star in Siakam, so it's not like.
Yeah.
It's like it's not even fully that like he's the solidified best player on that team. Like he's the guy who's gonna go do this, because he didn't even make the All-Star game, but Siakam did.
That's true. Down the stretch, Siakam probably taking that last shot.
Right, but Halliburton's gonna get that assist.
Yeah,
he's gonna set him up for that last shot. That's why they're my top 10 for sure.
Okay.
So yeah, my top 10: Bucks, Rockets, Pacers, Grizzlies, Knicks, Nuggets, Lakers, Celtics, Thunder, Cavs.
Okay.